Okay, let me start off with a little fun number for you and then we'll teach you. I'll learn you something. Here we go.
Life looks so cool.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Please, please, just, oh, stop it. You're too much. You're too much. Hopefully that sounded okay out there. No crackling. As it got a little louder over here, might have crackled over there. But that'll be the. Oh, how about that? That's called a Zoom, a out of the nowhere Zoom noise. Oh, somebody's got something. That's the fun thing about Zoom. You never know what to expect. Okay, so the last two times that I taught this type of class, I reviewed, I don't know if you remember, but a couple months ago, I actually spent some time on learning how to make, save a preset, how to save them onto USB, and how to load them. I'm not going to go into that today, but here's what I am going to do, because what I'm going to teach today, or part of, depending how long it takes, because I have a part two to this lesson, depending of how long the first part takes. There's going to be a similar function and similar instruction in how we do this. So when I post this class on our Patreon, what I'm going to do on that post is I am going to add two links in there, and the links will be those recorded classes. Okay, if that makes sense. So a lot of times when I post these classes and after we record them, they're there forever amongst the hundreds of others videos that we put there. Sometimes they're hard to find for you if you want to go back and watch it. It's like you got to sift through and do all these little things. So when I post this class and I have it uploaded, in the notes you'll see a link. It'll say to watch the class that I taught on how to save presets. Click here, and if you click that, it'll open up that particular class. The last class I did about 2 weeks ago, was it? I was going to say a month ago. It was 2 weeks ago. I spent time on the same topic on how to save, or no, how to load song presets.
Oh,
Okay, so we talked a little bit about that and the differences. Well, that class, I'll also put a link. So what you're going to get in today's class when I post it is, if you watch it, you'll see whatever I do today. But then if you want to go, you know what, I want to go revisit those others, I'll include it in there. Okay, and I'll show you a little bit later how to do that. But today, so we're talking about saving presets and loading song presets and saving presets, yada, yada. There's another thing that you can do to save that some people take advantage of and some don't. And think of it It's kind of like presets, but it's a little bit different. Um, think about, a car. A lot of cars have a radio, all right? And you have the ability to save your favorite stations. So it's kind of like presets in a way. But think about some of the cars out there. I'm sure some of you have this. My car, for example, has obviously when you sit in it, if I need to adjust it, I have buttons, right? I don't have to do the the lever and try to get it right. But I had a car once that was really cool. When there was me and someone else you sharing the vehicle, it had two buttons on it, and one was for her, and it would move it. It was set so that when she sat and the other person sat in, it moved them up for their height and everything. And then when I got in, I pushed the two button, and it was preset for me. Okay? So what that did was, it's not like saving a favorite station now. That's like favoring a favorite setting of the car to fit the way you want it. It even included the steering wheel. So the steering wheel, I liked it a certain way, and I liked to sit back a certain way. So it didn't just adjust the seat; it adjusted the steering wheel and what was the perfect. That's a little bit different. So on all of the Lowrey organs, as you know, many of you are familiar with the option of these, what we call custom buttons. Okay? Now, some organs have two, some have three, some have four, and some have five. Okay? If you don't have five custom buttons, you got to have five. You need to call me as soon as the class is over. All right? But the idea of the custom buttons, all kidding aside, is that you have features there. Now, the organ comes equipped with features. Now, let me reset the organ to total reset. I got to remember where I have the volume at. Okay. And the volume will be reset. Okay. So, these custom features, some people really take advantage of them. They're located right here. And some people don't. Now, here's an example. Actually, I'm going to use the feature for me and Jerome, or the instructors, when we have it hooked up to a TV, which I'll point the camera up in a little bit, because the screen on the TV right now, as you can see, is on the common home screen that most people are familiar with. Genius, style list, song setup, in this case USB or disc, depending on your model, and the keypad, all right? Okay. But some of the organs have two screens, and so we like to go back and forth. So I'll show you in a bit what I'm going to do, which will service today's class as well. So what do these custom buttons do? They basically allow you to store your favorite features on the organ. Now, the organs all have features on them. And I say sometimes it's better than using the owner's manual, because to me, this feature button right here is almost like utilizing the owner's manual. Now, many of you have the printed manual. I think it's pretty thick, right? A couple hundred pages, front and back. That's a lot of pages. And it gets to the nitty gritty. Well, on the feature button here, there's like 11 or 10 pages. I don't know, 11 pages sounds a lot easier than 200. But these are features of the organ, and sometimes some of them are very easy to use if you just go through them and use it. But some people, like me, we don't want to have to push this and go through, and then we look at something and go, I don't know what that does, so I don't use it. Okay. But there are some features on here that I commonly use. All right. Over here, this organ, like many organs, come equipped with features that are in here. So I'm going to actually let me do this for now. Okay. So I'm going to put the screen up here for a minute. Okay? You can kind of see that there. All right. Now what I'm going to do is touch feature. And I'm not going to go through all. I'm just going to very quickly. So if I go to page 1, you'll see that there's levels, tuning, sustain, AOC. Page 2 is upper drawbars, lower drawbars. There's another page that has 3 features. Page 4. Okay, as you can see, there's features on all of these. All right. Now, in the organ that I am using, 5 of these features are programmed already over there. Okay? So for example, you see that one on the top there? It says preset information. And if I touch it, does that look familiar? Can you see that out there in virtual land? Okay, you don't have to see it specifically, but you can see it's listing all the presets that I'm currently on, which is the general presets. Now, most people, believe it or not, you'd be surprised, if I had to guess, about 50% of the people that own organs with these buttons, they don't realize that that is also on custom 4. Or custom 3, if you have 3. If you have 2 custom buttons only, it's on number 2. It's one of those custom buttons. That's a very popular one. A lot of students use that. Why? Because it's telling us every time we push something, it's telling us what sounds are there, right? That's great. Well, that's a feature and built into the organ. What happened is when these organs were programmed, whoever was the final decision, it was probably a group like unanimous. They probably said, this is a feature that should be available very quickly. Everybody's going to use that. I use it all the time. Okay? So there's 5 of those features. So which 5 features are over here? Some of you probably already know the answer to this, but for those who aren't familiar, so when I push custom 1, I actually don't change this one. I use this from time to time. It gives me the list of all of the rhythms that you're selected. What's the one at the very top? It says Waltz 1 category. So right now I'm on the Waltz category, and I push custom 1. It has all the rhythm styles available in the Waltz. Okay? Now, some people will ask, well, why do I need that? Some of the organs, when you put on a rhythm, it automatically brings it up. Okay? Not all the organs do. So for those who don't, the model doesn't do that, this comes in handy. But here's another reason. A lot of times I'll do this. I'll say, I'm going to use Frank in the count. Okay? Now, I'm going to start playing the organ, right? And I'm going to push custom 4, see my presets. What happened to the rhythms? They went away. Yeah. And now while I'm playing, I might want to switch to another rhythm style while I'm playing. So I might play along and you know, just do something like this. Let me turn it down a little bit. All right, and I'm playing along, and I get creative, and I go, you know what? I wonder what this song would sound like if I chose another rhythm within the group. Well, what you can't do is you can't push the rhythm button on and off, because then what will happen is the rhythm will stop, and you got to turn it back on, and that doesn't seem right. But I want to do it while I'm playing. Okay? So that's where this custom button comes in handy. So while I'm playing, if I push custom 1, it lists all the rhythms in that group. Now nothing's changed. You still hear it going, right? Now what if I want to have some fun and go, oh, let me try out what I'm playing and try a different rhythm. Satin Lady. See what it sounds like. I was doing a little bit of All of Me. Was I playing All of Me? I only played 3 notes, but that's what I was playing. All right, let me switch it. Mid-gear. So to me, that's how you can use that feature, the rhythm styles. You could use it however you want. That's how I use it. Yeah. But if you're playing and you've got this screen up, how do you know how can you switch rhythms? Well, there's two ways to do it. There's two ways to do it. Turn this off and turn it back on. Well, that doesn't seem normal. Or while it's playing, push custom 1 and then all the rhythms, and you could just switch. Okay? Now, keep in mind, they're all not going to work, but most of the time, a lot of the styles within that group works. Not the point of the lesson. The point of the lesson is easy access to that. Custom 2, this is by the factory. Gives me what's called the drawbars. Now this is a category that's great for those who love the sound of the organ. Now, I love the sound of the organ. I don't always play organ sound, but from time to time I will put on some organ sounds, and I'll use some jazz organ sounds for my swings and what have you. This feature here is a hit and miss for me because built in already are some great organ sounds. But this is a category for those organ lovers, especially remember the sound of the Hammond. Okay? Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I could do a whole class on just this feature. That's not the point of the class. The point of the class is telling you what's there and then how we can change it, okay? And all the drawbars do is it takes an organ sound. Let's say I have an organ sound like this. Now, if you notice, you'll see the 16 and the 8 there. Hammond had a concept years ago, a lot of companies followed after a while. It said instead of just having those on, you could actually determine how much of those you want. So here right now is 16 in the 8-foot organ flute. Now watch what happens when I touch the 8-foot and bring that to a volume of 10, if you can see it up there. Now listen. Okay, the setting didn't change, but you notice how loud it got. Now watch. And what could happen is you can actually create your organ sound. You can turn them on, but you can individually determine how much of that. Who would use that? The real answer is anyone who loves the sound of the organ wants to experiment with the organ sounds. There are some out there that will go and spend time on that. If it's not there, it's not a feature that'll get used, and Lowrey would have lost out on that market. So you got to have all the options. Do I use it? Once in a great blue moon. You know why? Because when I turn on the organ from the factory A, B, and C, there's 33 great organ sounds right there, and then I can and the balances are fine. But it's there just in case. Now I guarantee you, most people, if I had to bet, won't use number 2 because you got enough organ sounds. That might be one that you might want to put something else in there. We're getting to that. Number 3 is very common. This is pretty simple. It says next preset. You could either use the touch bars or the foot switches, or both, whatever's easier. And all it means is that some people don't like the foot switches because they're worried about the volume going crazy, all right? I like using the foot switches because I like keeping my hands on the keyboards as much as possible, okay? It's a preference. And all this means is if you have this feature, since I'm standing, I'll use the touch bar, and you activate the on both. Here's what it does. Now let me see if I can, I don't know if you'll be able to tell because for some reason cameras, when there's lights on the organ, they look like they're blinking even though they're not. I don't know if you can tell there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on just any rhythm. All right, Now I have the feature on to where it's the next preset on the touch bars. And all that means is if I use the right touch bar, the preset will move to 1. You could probably see it on the screen there. 2, 3. I must have touched it again. Okay. 4, 5. If I keep touching the right one, it's just going to keep going to the right. Okay? Now if I touch the left, it'll go to the left. It does exactly what it says. Right. It changes presets left or right, just as it says. It goes to the next preset. So if you are playing the organ and you like using presets, some people don't like to take their hands off and reach all the way up. The touch bars are pretty close. All you have to do is touch the left or right. Now, here's the one that tricks people a little bit. Okay? Now you see that button there that says include banks? All right. It means what it says. So a lot of us have presets that are done for us or we make our own. Sometimes I have enough presets that I start on the A bank with my custom presets, A1 through 10. And I just did this with the Song of the Month last month. And then I had B1 through 7, I think. Point is that if I include banks, okay, touch yes. When I'm doing that, what'll happen as the presets are going, right now I'm on the A bank, when I get to number 10 and I do it again, it automatically goes to the B bank. Now you guys didn't see that out there. Let me just, they saw it here. Okay, so now that I have include banks, so this is great if you have presets A1 through 10 programmed for you and you have some on the B bank. Okay, so I'll start again. Here's A1. It's on A1, and if I keep going to the right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and once it gets to the next one, it automatically switches to B, 0, 1, 2, etc., etc. So, pretty clever. It's a way of using that feature without having to reach up and hit the buttons. All right? Now, if you have questions on that, that's a great question to ask your personal assistant, because today's class is going to be on how to save your own custom settings. Right now, I'm just telling you what's in there from the factory. And custom 4 is the preset information. Now, I said earlier that some of the organs have 3 custom buttons, some have 4, some have 5, okay? Every organ has this one on it. Not every organ has the next preset or the draw. It just depends. So you may have one of those, one of the first 3 that I told you, okay? Number 5, for those of you who have it, some of you may have it on, I forget which models, but is the keyboard screen. A lot of people like that feature simply because when you're playing back a recording from one of the artists, so if I recorded a song or Jerome or Don or anybody, if you play back their recording, you'll see those keys moving as it's playing. Yes. You ever wonder how I get some ideas? Because I have recordings of Marco Mendez. And when I play it back, I watch his fingers and I go, what did he do there? What did he do? Oh, is that all he did? Then you find out it's nothing out of the ordinary. And that you can stop it, you can pause it. Yeah. Now I'm going to play, but if it was a recording playing back, you look at the screen there. If I'm playing, I purposely did 3-finger chords and things like that, so you could see some of the notes that they're playing sometimes. Sometimes I listen to it just to see what chord they played. Ooh. Sometimes it's just to see what chord they played, and it'll show up on the screen, and I'll know what notes they played. 'Cause sometimes I'll see a chord playing when I hear a recording, and I'm like, what? And how do you do that? But if I don't have the screen up, I can't tell what notes, and I have to push a bunch of notes to try to figure it out. And if the person is playing pedals, the pedals will be shown as well. Okay? So it's a really helpful tool. Now, not all of you have 5 custom buttons. Some of you have 3, some of you have 4. And you may say to yourself, well, wait a second, Robert. I have only 2 custom buttons, but I like the preset, and maybe number 1, I'd like to have that screen, or I'd like to have one of those features. So you can pick and choose. Okay? Now, for example, here's what I like to do. Because when I'm teaching a class, sometimes I like to have this screen that you're on, and sometimes I like to have the other screen. The problem is that I have to set up the organ to do that, and I'll show you that in a minute. So here's an example. I'm going to tell the organ that I want custom number 2 to show me the left screen, and I want custom 3 to show me the right screen. All right? So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to push feature. I'm going to scroll to the feature that I want. In this case, I'm looking for screen. Tell me when you see it, because it's backwards the way I'm looking at it. Screen, okay? That's a feature. Just remember, anything you see in that screen feature, you can save on one of those custom buttons. Exactly. I just went through them so you know what's possibly on your instrument. If you have all 5, you have all 5. If you have 3, you have at least 1 or 2. There's something there. And if you find yourself going, I'm never going to use that one, well, guess what? Well, then replace it with something that you will use. Oh, that's what we're doing right now. She asked, how do we replace it? Well, guess what, folks? I'm going to tell you now how to replace it. I'm going to demonstrate first with what I want to do. So I'm teaching a class a lot of times, and we have the TV here, and a lot of times we go back and forth from the left and the right screen, and it doesn't always show up. So what I'm going to do is hit feature, hit screen. Now you see on there it says blue. That's just the theme. You know, I can change the theme of the color or whatever if I want it to be that color. I just touched where it says theme, and then each organ has their own different themes, okay? Now here it says video out. That strictly means the video coming out of here into the TV. And it's saying, do I want the right screen or the left? Well, I want the right screen, okay? But here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to save it in one of the custom buttons, okay? And I'm going to use number 3, because I don't use that one a lot. So here's what I do. I'm going to push memorize. Now this is going to sound familiar to some of you, because if you're used to using presets, we said this repeatedly. Memorize a letter or number, memorize. But there's a little bit difference here. You're not going to push preset. You're going to push memorize. You're going to push the custom button that you want to save it in. In this case, I want to put my right screen in number 3. And then on the screen, it says screen display, value, and setting. Okay? Now I'm going to explain what it means, and then I'm going to explain it multiple times from here on out. Okay? Because some people, for some reason, it takes several times. As a wise clinician used to say, we learn by repetition. If anybody can tell me the name of the Lowrey artist that used to say that a lot, you win 1,000 virtual dollars. Okay? All right. So screen and display, and the thing with what you're seeing is it means what it says. Screen and display means it'll just pull up the screen for you to make the changes. It'll automatically pull up the feature, and then you adjust it accordingly. Value and setting means that however I want it to come up every time I push a button, it'll do just that. Now remember this? Remember earlier I talked about the car with 2 settings? And I said one person was tall, and so the setting was set to move back and the steering wheel a certain way. And the other person was short, so the setting was to go up, and I think even elevate, and the steering wheel came a little closer. That's a specific value in setting. Think of it like that. That's a specific value in setting. So when that person pushed 1 or 2, it did it exactly how they wanted it. Well, I want my custom button to automatically change to the right screen when I push it. So I'm going to touch value in setting. Oops. I accidentally touched something, yes. Okay, so value in setting. Okay, so I pulled up the feature I wanted. I made the necessary change, and I said, I want that feature now to be on number 3. So I hit memorize, pick the custom number that you want to save it on, and then you have the option to choose one or the other. And in this case, I want it, whenever I push number 3, I want it to always come up with the right screen. And then you confirm it by pushing memorize. Now look on the screen, look on the TV there. Memorize to custom number 3. So every time, no matter what, if I clear the screen and I go and I push a bunch of buttons, it doesn't matter what. Whenever I push number 3, it'll automatically, well, right now it's there because that's so it's there, so you're not going to see it change. It's going to automatically pull up that right screen for me. Now, I want custom number 2 to give me the left screen. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to feature. Screen is the feature I want to change, and I want to change the video out to left. Okay? Now, what you can't see, folks, is what you can't see. It may be hard to see it from there because there's glare here too. I'm going to darken it. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it doesn't make that much of a difference, does it? Okay, let me put it back to this. Okay, you see how it's on the right now? Oops. I got to get 3 cameras here. That's what I got to do. Okay, let me go back over here. Okay. All right, see it says on the right? Now I'm going to move this to the left, and because it'll switch to the left, you won't see this anymore. Okay? Now it's on the left, but on my window here, I can still see on the right side the changes I'm making. Now I want to save this on custom number 2, so what button am I going to push first?
Memorize.
All right, they got the answer right here. I wanted to wait till someone out there got it too. Memorize. They can't hear you say it, so you're not giving away the answers. And what number did I say I wanted to push it on?
2.
2. Okay, now you don't see it up here because I have it on the left screen right now. And then I want to save it to value and setting. And then what's the last thing I do?
Memorize.
Memorize. Now, so right now, when I push custom 3, it gives me the right screen. If I push custom 2, it gives me the left screen. Okay? This feature really, to me, what I just did, this option is great for the teachers because we use the screen. At home, I don't think this would be of use to most people. Okay? But the operation of saving is useful. So let's do another one now. So let me go to the feature. Okay? Here's a feature that some people like to do. Any chord players out there?
Yep.
All right. So this happens sometimes for chord players. As you know, the keyboard split when you're playing starts, it ends right here on the G note. Okay? So a lot of times when we're playing, some chord players, they play like this. Most of the time, I don't ever run into this problem. But like when I play my G, 7th, you see my thumb is right there. Some people, because of the way they learn, sometimes will use their thumb and do the F and the G together, and then this happens. They get that because they went over into the keyboard split. Okay? So what happens is, you know, they're playing along and they get that because they're running over. Or sometimes when I'm playing, I'll move my hand down and I want more keys this way. So a lot of people will change the keyboard split. Okay? So, in order to do that, it's pretty easy. You go to Feature and you scroll to something about split. There it is, page 7. Now, you may never do this. It doesn't matter. The object here is how to take a feature and put it on over there. Okay? Set split. So you can, once you touch it, the keyboard screen comes up. Now, you see it's showing you the lower keyboard there, right? And you see it all in red. Okay? That's telling you where the split ends. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you need more room to the left or to the right? The answer is going to be different for everybody, right? All right? If you're a chord player and you find yourself running over, sometimes all you needed to move it over is one note or two. Sometimes, every now and then, I like to move it over to the left a little bit, and I can move my whole left hand down. The chords will work the same if you're playing down here. And I might want to give myself a little bit more notes from my melody. Again, it's a preference. So I'm just going to pick one. It doesn't matter. I'll move it to that E flat there. All right? So, you can do that. Okay, you can move it there. It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. If you think that you're going to use this feature a lot, instead of going Feature, scroll to page 7, you can save it on your custom buttons. I have the camera so it's facing the screen. I feel like I want to jump up and, hey! I always refer to the Home Improvement show. Remember with Tim Allen, the next door neighbor? You never know what he looked like. But he was always giving him wise advice. He was a wise man. All right. So anyway, so you have to ask yourself, see, if I use this feature, I'm constantly changing it. Then there's some people that they turn on the organ, the first thing to do is they adjust their split and they put it at a certain spot and that's where it stays. Okay? So you have to ask yourself, is this a feature I'm going to use all the time that I'm going to adjust from time to time? Or do I just need it done once and that's it? Okay? So let's say I decide to move it. I want this feature now. We'll get to the actual use of the feature. So here's what we do. I'm on the feature that I want to use, and I want to save it to a custom button. Now, because I'm using 2 and 3, I'm going to use 1, even though I wouldn't normally change that one, but I'm already using 2 and 3 for today. You can put it whatever one you want. That's your preference. I'm going to push Memorize. I'm going to pick the custom number that I want, in this case, number 1. And now it's saying, screen display or value settings. Okay? Now for me, I just want the screen display. I just want the feature to come up as you saw it. So I can choose the split there where I want it. All right? So I'm going to leave it there. And then I'm going to push 1. Okay, I did that. And then to confirm it, I'm going to push Memorize. Right? Now, every time I push, doesn't matter what I have on, I can go over here and I can push Texas Toe Tapper, I can put on another preset, whatever. Oh, you know what? I want to change my split. I saved it on which custom number? 1. So I push 1, And the keyboard split comes up. Now I can make the change. But see, it's a lot easier to get to than feature, scroll to page 7. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Here's a little side note. Okay? Important note on this feature. Okay? So many people make the mistake with this one. Once you set your split, make sure to push to feature clear the screen back to normal. Okay? So somebody give me a note. Any note on the E. So I'm going to change my split to E. Okay, you saw it move, right? Now what did I say to do after you change it? Clear the screen. Yes. Now some of you probably know why. Why is that for those of you who know why?
To save the split that you just changed.
To save it, but there's another reason. So you don't have a oops. Because here's what happens. If you leave it there and you change it, and then you start playing the organ, guess what? Every note on the left hand that you touch is going to change. Okay, I forgot to do it. I'm going to start playing. I'm playing my chords. Here we go. You see it changing all the time? So if you're using this feature, once you set it, just remember, okay, turn the screen off. Because if you don't, every time you play something on the lower keyboard, you're changing the split every time you play. A lot of people forget, okay, I set where I want it, and then they start playing. They go, I don't know what's going on, but the split's not where I saved it. That's because you left the screen on and you started playing. So every time you hit a note, you're changing it. So that's just to make a note that if you're using the set split change, once you make the change, clear the screen, get rid of it, bring it back to whatever. Okay? So I'll pull it up again. I'm going to bring it down to E like someone told me. Okay? And then I'm going to clear the screen. That's it. Now, I go and I play another song. I go, you know what? I want to move that split again. Well, I have the feature saved, right? So I just pull it up again. And I go, okay, let me move it back to over here. Okay. Then clear the screen. The question I just was asked, if you turn the organ off, will it save all that? No, it will not. But that's why you save the feature there, so when you turn it on, you can very easily just touch. Yeah, just. Oh, okay. So once you have that feature memorized to the custom button, it will be in that custom button until you do one of two things. Do a total reset or put a different feature in there, naturally. Okay, so now I'm back to normal, back to the home position. I touch one, and there's my set split, and then I can make the change. Okay? Now, I like the screen display because then it gives me the ability to change it as I need it. But then there's some people that, you know what? I only need to change it to one place only, and that's it. So let's say I want to make that change to, maybe I'm one of those chord players and I need 2 extra notes in my left hand, whatever. All right, so let me pull up the feature. All right, and I'm going to make the change to, say, A flat. All right, now it's changed, right? So I'm going to do the same thing this time, but I'm going to save it in another custom button. I'm going to push memorize. The procedure's the same. I'm going to push the custom button I want to save it on. In this case, I'll use number 5. And instead of screen display, I'm going to do value and setting. Value and setting means just that. Remember I told you earlier, it means once you push that button, it will automatically move it for you. Do it just like that. Now I'm going to put it on 5. It's on value and setting. And I'm going to memorize it. Now watch on the screen. All right, it's custom 5. Now I'm going to clear the screen. Here's what happens. Now I can turn off the organ. go out for a great lesson with one of your PAs. You go up to the Fletcher store. You go and you buy a new organ. And because you got to wait 3 days for your new organ to show up, you want to play the one that you still have in your house. And you go, oh my goodness, I hope that setting is still in there. All right, I turn it on. Now, watch it closely, because it'll only appear for like a second or two. And I go, you know what? I want that split change, and I saved it on number 5. I'm going to push number 5. Now, watch the TV there. Whoop. Boy, that was fast, wasn't it? I don't even know what it said. Value and setting. Did you see it? Very set splits. It just automatically changed the split, because that's the way we saved it. We said we didn't want the screen up and make the changes ourselves. We want it to be saved exactly how we set it. That's the difference between value as setting and pulling up the screen. So some features I like pull up the screen and make changes. Sometimes I want it to be a certain way. Most people use the screen display. You can pick and choose how you want to do that. All right? Here's my encouragement. Find a feature that you think you may use a lot. Let's see if there's another one that I use a lot. Here's one that I use from time to time. Reverb. When you touch reverb, you have 10 different selections of how you want the sound of the instrument. Okay? To give you an example, here's an organ sound without any reverb. You hear that? Kind of a dead, dry sound. Now here's the same organ sound with the reverb turned up all the way. Can you hear a difference out there? All right. Here's like the church organ sound without reverb. Well, that's got echo. Let me do something else. Hold on. Put this one on. It's not moving. The sound is on, but I just turned it down. I'm just demonstrating so you could hear the difference. Here's a organ sound without reverb. Okay, you see sweet sound on, but I'm turning it down and off on the side panel. Listen. Okay, now watch what happens when I touch cathedral. Here's church. Slight difference. Here's one. They're all different effects, okay? So if I think I'm going to use that feature, if I'm going to change it, you may not use the feature. You find a feature that works for you. If you have a feature that you want to use, just save it to the custom button. Memorize, pick the custom number you want to save it under. Maybe screen display is easy to start doing this, and then memorize. Now, every time I turn on the organ or switch around and I push number 5, guess what? It'll pull up that screen, and then I can pick the necessary setting that I want. Okay? There are lots of features in the organ. I don't use them all. Some of you have the microphone feature. Maybe you're used to having some guests over and you have some fun with that, where you can actually change, the person using the microphone to sound like a child. We have some fun with that, or what have you. Well, if you think you're going to use that feature a lot, you have one or two choices. I'll just hit feature, scroll to page 10 or 11, or I'll save that feature. How do you save it? Memorize, custom number that you want, screen display, memorize. It'll actually go back when you do that. You only want to use value. What did I say? Value in setting. You only want to use value in setting if you want it to be a specific way every time. Most people bring up the screen option so that way they can adjust it from there. But it just gets you there a lot faster. Okay? Now, That I've said all of that stuff. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I have a comment, Robert. It's my
All right, hold
lucky
on.
day. My
Hold that.
lucky day. I've got 5 buttons.
What's that?
My lucky day. I have 5 buttons.
You have 5 custom buttons?
Buttons. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have to buy a new organ today.
No. Well, you might want a second one because then you'll get 5 more. One in the other bedroom because then you have all the custom buttons.
No, thank you.
See. Hold on. All right, we paused because our fire alarm went off and it said to rush off. But ever since they put that in about 15 years ago, it's been going off every so often and it's always a false alarm. So, oh, yes, it's happened. And I was telling the class the other day, we had a salesperson by the name of Dan Reed. Remember Dan Reed? He was very clever. When the alarm went off, exit the building, he'd say, "Organ sale, organ sale." So one of these days, it's going to be a real fire, or it's just going to be sitting there going, it's a false alarm. Anyway, you have a question?
Everything's fine, and I thank you for showing that, but how do you incorporate that in an actual song?
Okay, so I'll answer. The question is how do you incorporate all of that into using in a song? Well, it just depends. Now, for example, it depends on the song. So, for example, if you're playing a song a certain way and you know you're going to use the lower keyboard a lot and you want more room for well, then maybe you want that feature handy so that you can change it before you go to you start playing that song. Sometimes when I'm playing a song, I like to change the reverb settings. Or did I put it on there, or did I put it?
No.
Oh, that put it to microphone now. So I like to change the reverb settings. Okay, well, rather than me having to hunt for that feature, I can save it on there. And sometimes it's not even just for a song. Think of it like this. If you're using these features on the organ, okay, which one do you find yourself using a lot? Some people like playing the USBs a lot. So they may bring up the change songs feature. You know what I do a lot? I didn't mention it today, but I've taught it in class. Sometimes I like to go in and edit the sounds and go in and change the octaves and the delay. That's me. So I have that feature saved a lot. So it's not one song per se. It's about which feature do you find yourself using a lot? Well, you may use it more if you go through it and you go, hey, I like that. That's cool. Then you save it. For example, I'll do one more example. Here's another feature. See it there, portamento time? Do anybody know what that is? They call it differently on the E series, by the way. So if you have a Marquee, Grand Marquee, Aria, they call it slide. On the A series, it's portamento. No, that says glide. There, it says glide settings, not slide. Okay, but on your organ, if you have the E series and you have this feature, it's to the right near the solo section called slide. On the A series, it's called portamento. Okay? It's commonly known with this sound. Give me a second to find it. Oh, actually, it just happens to be programmed in the organ here. And when I turn it on, it'll automatically turn it on sometimes. The whistle. If you put on whistle in the solo section, I think it automatically activates the slide. And all that means is this. When you have a whistle, oh, I'm on the lower keyboard. Let me put it on the upper. Okay, there's a whistle. If you hold the note, see how it's slid up to the note? And it doesn't go up each note. It goes. So if you ever heard us playing, go. Okay? That's the portamento. It takes a solo sound, and it takes the note you're holding, and if you go to the next note while you're holding it, it'll slide up to that note. Well, some people like to get creative and have some fun, and they'll pull up that feature. Oops. Portamento time. I can do a whole class on this, but I'll just give you the quick version. The fun thing about this is you can do it, you can experiment all you want. Remember, you have the home and the reset button. So try it out. Try these things out. And if you think, oh my God, I messed up the organ, reset. Okay? Now watch. Right now, it says that it's on the solo one right now, what I have on. And it says the time is 25. So that means, let's see if I can keep the screen on and the keyboard at the same time here. Okay? That means while I'm playing the whistle, whatever note I end up holding, sometimes it's within your reach, it'll go up there in the speed of 25, whatever that means. Okay? Now watch. I'm going to change 25, and I'm going to make it drastic. I'm going to change that number to 50. Actually, we'll go to 70, so you can really hear their difference. Now, I don't know that you would do this unless you really want to have some fun with your grandkids or what have you. Watch this. Same thing. Okay? Now, I don't know that you'd do it that drastic, but I wanted you to see what that's doing. This is usually set at a reasonable number. So if you activate it, it's not going to do anything weird on you. So if I bring it down to, it was at 25, let me bring it down to 35 and see what happens and do that whistle again. Yeah, so that's like a longer whistle. Okay, so you could have some fun with that. And whistle is a common one that they use, but you can use it on any instrument that's in the solo. So if you really want to have some fun, you can take the whistle here. Let's see. How about, oh, you got whistlers. Yes. Then there's, you can have some fun. Let's see. If you want to take let's say a trumpet. I don't know if this will sound good, but you might get a laugh for yourself. Here we go. Oh, wait, got to activate the portamento. Okay. Okay. Whistles automatically turns it on. So if you do, you can really increase it. Let's see. Whoops. Trumpet, 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 trumpet. Turn it on. I'm going to increase the speed to 50 and make it weird 60. Anyway, now, how often do I use that feature? Very rarely. But if it's something I'm going to use a lot, then I'll save it. One last one, I won't save it. We mentioned glide settings. There are many glide settings. You have the normal one. You have the super. You know, the normal glide is very common. You put on, you know, so like the Hawaiian guitar. Let me see, Hawaiian, that's Broadway. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to put on the glide settings. So here's your normal Hawaiian guitar. Okay, that's your normal glide. All right, now if I put on super glide. All right, then there's a trombone glide. Maybe you're using the trombone and you can have, and put, where is the trombone? So maybe you want to use different glide settings. If you find yourself using it a lot, then you say, you know what, I like that feature. Memorize, custom button that you want to save it on, screen and display is a very common one, and then memorize. Now every time I push custom 5 in this case, it automatically pulls up those settings. You have a lot of features in the organ. You won't use them all. What you should do is scroll through them and touch them and start doing stuff with them. And if you understand it, that's fine. Move on. When you find one that you like, that's the one that you're going to probably save over there. And pedal steel is a little different. It's like it's a different glide. So if I have like a, it's a little bit different. It's when you really want to get that steel guitar sound. The thing is, you can mess with it. And then, of course, oh my gosh, Robert, you really goofed up that organ. You changed everything around. I'm going to go back to reset, do a total reset, and there you go. All done. Back to normal. So that's why we say, just remember, when you see a button somewhere, what are you normally supposed to do with it? Push it. But buttons are meant to be pressed. And sometimes people are afraid to push a button. Well, they wouldn't put the button there if they didn't want it to be pressed. You can't hurt the organ. Okay? So experiment with these things and find it's probably even better if you go and you experiment and you get to a point where you're stuck. Because then that's write it down, and then you come in and then you say, this is what I did. Oh, and then okay, and you miss one little step. Sometimes it's always that one little step that we miss. Like for saving presets, I've had many times people, they did everything right except for one thing, and they couldn't figure out why the preset wasn't saved. And it was because they forgot to hit memorize at the very end. Something so simple. But you know what? That's how we learn. Okay? So with that said, I'm going to tell you right now, this class that's being recorded is going to be posted on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, Arizona. So that's east, figure that, do the math from wherever you're at. And in that post, you'll get to go back and watch this. I'm going to put in the post, I'm going to put 2 links of the previous, like in case you like this class and you want to learn more about, say, if you click on those links, it'll bring you to those other classes automatically, and then you can watch them. It'll be easier to find, okay? So, and if you're wondering, how do I get to Patreon? For those of you who aren't familiar with it yet, here's the easiest way to do it. If you go to our website at FletcherMusic.com, a lot of people know how to do that, okay? At the very top of our website, it says connect with us. That's the YouTube channel. This will also be posted there as well. Being on our email list, this one right here where it says the little P, if you click on that, it'll automatically bring you to our Patreon page. Okay? And then, because I'm a Patreon member, all of these videos are unlocked. If you see it locked, it'll say click join to unlock. It'll prompt you through, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of classes that we've recorded and put on here. So what'll happen is, like in this case here, you see how this says here, all you need is love presets and intro. So in this one that I'm going to post, you'll see a few other links in there. If you click on it, it'll automatically bring you to the other classes. And like in this case, Don will sometimes handwrite out the intro. So in this case, I clicked on it and it opened it up there, and look, she hand wrote the intro to All You Need Is Love, only at Fletcher Music Centers. Funny story, Don and Joni and everybody else, when they teach their classes and they record them, when they're done, they always send me the information and the link, and I upload them in the appropriate places. And when I put them on the Patreon, I'm still putting in handouts and things like that. It starts to play automatically. So I listen to like the first 3 minutes, and a lot of times there's a history on the song, and I listen to these things, and I learned a lot in the beginning. Well, when this All You Need Is Love class, I was posting and scheduling. I was doing it, and she started talking. All you need is love. And in the background, I had my TV on by chance, and it was playing the movie. Uh, what was it called? Beyond, Above. It's a movie about. They tell us whole story, and they use all Beatles songs throughout. I think it's called Across the Universe, and they use Beatles songs throughout the whole. It's kind of like a musical movie. They got a story going on, but they use all the music that fits the part of the story. And it was near the end of that movie, and as I was posted, she goes, "All you need is love. This today's song is da 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 da." And then in the background, that song started playing at the exact same time. I no joke. It was like exactly the same timing. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, I thought, oh my gosh, I better go learn that song. Maybe that's a hint. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed today's class and hope you learned lots. If there's anything that you caught today that you're not completely sure, first I always say experiment. Keep a notepad and jot down notes that if you're not quite sure, jot down. Contact one of the personal assistants and they will help you. And if they don't know the answer, they'll call me. But most of the personal assistants know how to use that feature. I know Jerome uses what we did today a lot, the screen 1 and 2. So anyway, with that said, let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Robert Roman, everybody. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, stop it. Thank you. Stay safe and compete. Play music every day, everybody. Mwah.